system. There has been a lot of clamor for diversifying the PDS, the basket of goods that it provides. And some states have already done it. So Shumon, I, and my colleague Devesh Roy, we looked into what kind of impact does it have. And that's what I'm going to present. If you look at the title of the schedules that was distributed there, the title for this presentation is more appropriate, more apt. These are early results. Some of them are not consistent with each other if you see across tables. So it'll be great to get some feedback on this work that we are, which is still a work in progress. So if you look at the pulse consumption in India, ignore the bump for 99-2000 because that's the year when the reference period in NSSO data were changed. It has been declining and at a low level, and the rich consume more, non-poor consume more than the poor, the BPL households, and the consumption. So there are 2 or 3 things you can see in this. That one, it seems to be there's some price elasticity, and there's expenditure elasticity is also positive. Second is that even pulses are one of key sources of protein. After cereals, they may be the most important along with milk. And the protein consumption per capita in India is low, and it has stagnated at this low level. A third thing which is becoming more clinching now is that one is the pulse among different food groups. We also did some, a colleague of ours did some structural modeling of it. The elasticity, the price elasticity is high compared to other food groups, and it's higher. The expenditure elasticity is positive, but if you look at just the absolute value, the price elasticity is bigger. That term is bigger than the expenditure elasticity. As a result, as the prices are going and pulse prices are racing. From last year to this year, the price of arhar, for example, which is a common pulse, pigeon pea, has doubled in 12 months. So you see the consumption is declining, and there's a lot of price sensitivity, which makes it important. Another issue which we found quite interesting, even if you look at just eyeball the data, is that normally from a nutritional point of view, all pulses are key sources of amino acids or proteins, but the elasticity of substitution among different pulses is very, very low. So you cannot make your sambar with chana dal, even if chana dal is half the price or 1/3 the price of arhar. So people stick to whatever they are eating, even when the prices are high, which kind of limits the flexibility. So given these situations, like high prices, rising prices, there have been 2 reasons why there's been a clamor for subsidy on pulses or their inclusion. One is there's a major critique of PDS. One of the big critiques of PDS is that it focuses only on rice and wheat. The recent NFSA has included coarse cereals, but we will see if coarse cereals are actually delivered to households. And there's some results, though I haven't seen the one by Sonalde using IHDS data. She claims that states where PDS expanded, the rice delivery or wheat delivery expanded, the dietary diversity went down. There's another paper also with similar results. So there's one source of demand is that PDS should be diversified because dietary diversity, as Harold was also saying in the morning, is critical. And the second is sheer price effect. Like the same reason why the Delhi government was trying to subsidize onions. Like pulse is an important part of our diet, Indian diet, and their prices are rising very rapidly. As I said, 100% increase in arhar in just last 1 year. So arhar is now 200 rupees a kg, which is unheard of so that's the second one, just to make it more affordable. Some states already started doing it. So there are 4 states which, and now actually in recent years, more states have joined. But we will focus on 4 states that introduced pulses in their PDS system. And this table shows who's doing what. So Andhra Pradesh subsidizes a kg of pigeon pea or arhar or tur dal. You have Tamil Nadu subsidizing both urad and tur. Himachal has a complicated graduated system. If you have a family of less than 3, then you get 1 dal. Family of 3 to 5, you get another 1 kg on top of it. And then a family that is bigger than 5 gets close to 3 kg of different kinds of dal. Punjab also has a similar system. You get half a kg per person in the family up to 2.5 kg. And what is interesting is that different states subsidize different pulses and by different extents. So that gives us a lot of variation that we'll use in the subsequent slides or results that I show. And the question that we are concerned with is that this introduction in a few states, did it affect the consumption, household consumption of pulses? Did it increase? And if so, by how much? So the main data that we use is, again, NSSO. NSSO has consumption surveys, which collects data on total quantity and expenditure on 8 different kinds of pulses, and then the total pulses also. these 4 states that I'm going to talk about, they introduced it between 61st and 66th round, the two thick rounds. So we use those rounds, and then we use data from some of the previous rounds to test for parallel trends, because as some of you may have guessed, we'll use difference in difference. One of the problems is that unlike rice and wheat, for which when NSSO asks question, it asks you how much did you buy from other sources and how much did you buy from PDS. For pulses, since it's not a traditional PDS item, unlike rice, wheat, sugar, and kerosene, there isn't a different data for it. Okay, but so what you see is only the weighted average of the purchase from the fair price shop and the purchase from higher price shop, open market. But the good thing is that when you look at the summary data, and that's where we started, you do detect some effect of this 1 kg, 2 kg, whatever is provided in these states. You do see the effect of it. You can trace it in the data. And that's why we could do what we were going to show. So you see that the pulse prices were higher in the pre-treatment year in the treated states, and then they're slightly lower in the post-treatment states. If you go state by state, and different states subsidize different pulses, you see much bigger effect. You see that the fact that Tamil Nadu subsidizes arhar and urad, you do see that compared to the rest of India, arhar and urad are cheaper in Tamil Nadu. So that gives us confidence that we can use this data to at least get some of the impact of this policy. So we tested for parallel trends parametrically, though non-parametric would be idea, and we do see that there is a parallel trend in the overall consumption of pulses between these 4 states and the rest of India. And then we did the standard diff and diff regressions, and what we found, the data in red is like that a state like normally you see the impact for all 4 states combined, if you group all the, is about 300 grams per household per month. The consumption goes up as a result of this intervention by per family, 300 grams per family. But as I said, different states subsidize to different extent and up to different quantities. So you do see variation in the effect. So the lowest impact is in Punjab, and the biggest impact that you see in terms of increase in pulse consumption is in Tamil Nadu, which also is one of the best performing PDS states. Himachal is another one where you see a significant impact of about 0.4 kg. So the impact varies from 0.15 to up to 0.45 kgs. So we do see a positive impact. Then what we did is we were trying to see, the issue here is that it's quite possible that only some households are buying PDS grain pulses and others are not. And we thought that maybe the poor households would be more likely to collect their pulse entitlement. So when we divided the sample, the NSS sample, into the poor households and the non-poor households, essentially the bottom quintile and the top quintile, we found that the poor, we don't see the effect among the poor households. The effect is all coming from the non-poor houses. In the bottom decile, maybe they don't have the cash to collect it even at the prices it is being given. We don't know the reasons, but we are quite surprised that we don't see the effect among the poorest households, where the effect, we were expecting that the effect would be the largest. Then we also looked at how does it affect the total protein consumption. As Farzana was referring, households may reallocate, etc. And there we see the pulse protein consumption. That goes up significantly. And this result is kind of inconsistent with the earlier results. That's why I have put question marks. So our earlier results show that the consumption increased about 400 grams of pulses. That should amount to what, 25 grams of protein? Here, when we translate it into protein thing, it's like from National Nutrition Bureau numbers, it's coming out higher. So we need to recheck this regression and see what's going on. And also, that's why I'm not setting much by store with the result in the first column, where we are finding that actually even if the pulse protein consumption went up, the total protein consumption didn't go up. But this result needs a recheck and re-verification. Then, since different states are using different levels of subsidies, we also used so earlier results that I showed, we just classified states into treated states and untreated states. Here what we did is we looked at the open market prices of pulses from Mandi data, and then computed the value of subsidy, because each state is giving it at a fixed price, and then ran a regression on like a continuous treatment, a different diff with continuous treatment. If you subsidize pulse by 1 rupee, how much does it affect, how much does the consumption go by? And then those numbers are in line with 300 to 400 grams increase. It's like 1 rupee subsidy increases family consumption of pulse in a month by about 15 grams or so. A state gives, like different state gives 30 to 60 rupees subsidy, so the numbers are in the range. So the estimates that we have are kind of robust. They move around in the same way. So just to sum up, what we found is that provision of 1 kg subsidized pulse leads to increased household consumption of around 300 grams. So one question that happens is what happens to the other 700 grams that we are worried about? How does the reallocation work, or what happens? There are three possibilities. One is that we are looking at the entire household. We don't know who did it and who did not. We are also, one result that I forgot to add here is like we looked at only the households that have card, who are card owners, and the households that don't have card, and the results don't change much. But still there are three possibilities. Some households didn't buy. Second is households reallocated. They were getting pulse from PDS, so they reduced their market purchase. And third is that some of the pulse was leaked. So the third is less of a possibility because except for Punjab, the other three states have a very good reputation of running a tight ship when it comes to their PDS system. But still, we cannot outrule it. The problem is with NSSO data, you cannot check because the NSSO CS data is a repeated cross-section. You are not observing the same family repeatedly. So you don't know which one of these three is going on, or of all three are going up on to what extent. So what we did is we went to IFPRI-SAT. IFPRI-SAT has been collecting this VDSA data in several states. So the two states that came in handy for us are Maharashtra and Andhra Pradesh. There the data were being collected from 2006 or even earlier. And Andhra, old Andhra, now Telangana and Andhra, was subsidizing, introduced pulse subsidy in 2008. Maharashtra did not. Andhra did it for tur dal or pigeon pea. And when we looked at the data, we had a good number of households. Each household in the year 2008 got about 10 kg of subsidized tur from the PDS system at 30 rupees a kg. So this table is just a summary stat of what happened when the household started getting this 10 kg. So you look at, if you look at it, the total purchase of Andhra, the Telangana actually, this was in Mahbub Nagar, these villages were, so went up by 6 kg. This includes the PDS pulses and the open market purchases that the household got. After controlling, we are using Maharashtra as a control. I cannot claim that Maharashtra is a good control for it, but I still think it is plausible. But they also reduced the market purchase. So remember, they got 10 kgs of subsidized pulse, which resulted in 6 kg of increased tur consumption. But those households reduced their market purchase of tur by around 4 kgs and consumption of other non-tur pulses by about 3.5 kgs. Okay? So there is a reallocation going on. When you do it in a regression framework using household fixed effects, because these are panel data, so our results again are very similar to what we were getting, which is kind of surprising, is that you see that the total purchase, the interaction term is the impact of the policy, if you're again using different framework, is that the total purchase of tur dal for Andhra in 2008 went up by, net increase is 6 kgs, but they reduced the market purchase by around 4 kgs, other pulses by 2.4 kgs. So if you just do the math, just add and subtract the top row, you'll see that for 10 kgs of pulses that they receive from PDS system in that year, their net consumption of pulse increased by around 2.9 or 3 kg. So the kind of coefficient that we're getting from the NSS data, surprisingly, it is kind of exactly matching 30% or 300 grams. So that's the result. So I just think, so what kind of, this is my last slide. Like, I think what it just says is that if increasing protein consumption is your goal, then I think this is not this, it won't work this way. What it says in the top is like, this is not the way to cook the pulse if that is what you want to do. Because as Farzana was also mentioning, even what the in-kind transfers are fungible, people reallocate. They also work like cash transfer, at least someday. So price subsidy, I think, will have a smaller effect, smaller than expected effect on nutrition, especially if you have the demand itself is stagnant or is not rising. Second is that cost of achieving nutritional goals through this price subsidy can be high given this kind of reallocation pattern that we see. So increasing protein intake of a family by one, family of 5, that's the average family size, would be like 300 rupees per capita per year if you do it by 1 gram per day. And another problem, which is not the problem of this program itself, is the problem from the supply side. Unlike rice and wheat, where we have rotting stocks, pulses and oilseeds, we are major importers. And there aren't that, even at a global level, there isn't that much production. So there isn't enough pulse out there to subsidize it, especially given that India is a net importer and is the biggest importer. So I think that if we want to increase the household consumption of protein, you have to do something else. One is there is no escaping from increasing the production of pulse. We are at deficit there. And there may be other ways to do it, which would be better than doing through PDS. One thing that we haven't done is there may be, since pulse market is very thin, and India is a major player, if states start importing it, the states, what they do is they import it and then they give it through the PDS system. The trade market is very thin. Even small interventions, if not thought out well, can distort the market and can have negative effects on other states or other households that are not served by that PDS system. That effect we haven't looked into, but I think it may be out there. With that, thanks.